A same-sex couple on a cruise ship stood in front of the wrong people at a bar. And what happens next is shocking. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And we are JJ Cruise. We have a doozy of a tale to tell you about today. We are on a 15-night transatlantic cruise from Florida to Amsterdam aboard the Celebrity Apex. And let me tell you, it has been a bit of a bumpy ride.
And by bumpy, he doesn't just mean the seas. He means of what happened one night inside the actual cruise ship.
We're going to get into all the nitty-gritty details of this story, but before we do, we just want to ask you to please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel.
Yes, please subscribe to our channel. We are so close to 40,000 subscribers. It's something free that you can do and means the world to us. And while you're at it, hit the thumbs up.
Let's go ahead and set the scene for the story. On the Celebrity Apex, there are all kinds of gorgeous, gorgeous venues on board with a plethora of different types of entertainment. The venue where the situation took place is a venue called Eden. It sits all the way at the back of the ship, is multiple stories, has floor-to-ceiling glass. There is a fine dining restaurant, an amazing craft cocktail bar, and an entertainment space.
Now, when we talk about entertainment space, there are two casts completely separate from each other on board the Celebrity Apex, as well as Celebrity Beyond. These casts, one is all based on the theater shows, the main production shows, things you find a lot of times on every cruise ship. But this other cast is called the Eden cast. This Eden cast is specially acts. Sure, you have some singing and dancing, but you have aerialists, you have acrobats, you have muscle men. It is truly the greatest showman right before your eyes.
Now, if you want to see a little bit more about the shows that this cast does, head on over to our Instagram at Cruise with JJ. We've been posting from the shows that we've seen of that cast on board. They are phenomenal.
If you've never been to one of these shows, they're quite popular for good reasons. And with them being so popular, seats are hard to come by. So there's a lot of people sitting there early for the show, but on top of it, during the show, there's more people coming because they didn't realize the show was happening and how good it was. In this situation, the show was going on, and it was towards the end of the show when someone decided to come up to the bar. Now, this bar happens to be just on the side of the stage. So you have the stage almost connected to this L-shaped bar.
We were sitting at the top of the L, and directly across from us at the bottom of the L, if you can kind of picture that in your head, was where two guys came up to get a couple of drinks. Now, beyond that part of the bar, there are more seats, and actually people sitting, standing, coming in to see it. And when they walked up to get drinks at the bar, well, they unfortunately stood right in front of some people who were in seats, blocking these people's view of the show. We just want to put a quick disclaimer. This is not very good behavior or etiquette when you come to a show. You never want to be coming in, interrupting a show, blocking people's views. It's not something that we would ever do, and that is not behavior that we definitely approve of or condone.
It's a weird space in the fact that you usually don't have a bar right next to the stage. And so, of course, when this show is happening, some people don't get the fact that there is an actual show happening. You can wait, hold the next 30 minutes before you get your next beverage.
But towards the end of the show, when these two gentlemen walked up, we could kind of hear a little bit of a confrontation happening, and I kind of swung my bar stool around to look and see that, of course, one of the people that they stood in front of had gotten up and told them that they need to move. Well, the two gentlemen at the bar were very bold and said, no, we're getting drinks, we're not moving.
Of course, what happened next is something that we can only talk about based off of the accounts of one of the parties here. And that's why we're going to say allegedly what happened next is disgusting behavior. Unfortunately, the show ends and yelling starts happening back and forth, and of course, when something like this happens, it's noticeable. So we both turned our chairs around at that point, our stools around, and we really looked at what's happening. People were starting to film it, but we didn't really catch what started the full fire of why people were yelling.
So like Jared said, we heard from one of the parties afterwards what had happened, and allegedly, the man that came to confront these two guys at the bar first put hands on them to kind of push them or pull them away from the bar, and followed that up with homophobic slurs.
Of course, you never lay hands on someone, no matter what. That is never acceptable, and we all know better than that. But on top of it, and what I find even more disgusting in this situation, is the slurs being said, because that means there's actual hate driven by all actions from then on out, and you can't even take any consideration for this person's thought process because it already came from a hateful place.
Now, all of that was awful. I mean, absolutely terrible. What we want to focus on, though, is the actions of the cruise line right afterwards. You could tell that the bartenders could see what were going on and what was kind of happening in building, so they called security, and security was there right away. We watched security walk in within a matter of seconds, separate the parties, and take the one party that had laid hands on the two gentlemen at the bar and called them homophobic slurs. He was escorted completely out of the room. Now, allegedly, what happened next is that gentleman was locked up in his stateroom and has been there all week.
We aren't the security officers, we aren't the ones doing all this, but we do have one side, which is the party of the two men, that let us know what happened. We had asked them just to make sure we understood what transpired, because of course we weren't right next to them. We didn't hear any of the slurs or what had happened in that regard. The show was still going on, so even though Jordan turned around to see initially that people were standing in the way, he didn't focus on that, he was still focused on the show. What really matters here is that Celebrity took the hate seriously. They heard from the same-sex couple and how this other party attacked them with hate and hateful words in front of public as well as to them, and they really took action in the right way.
We have always been impressed with how inclusive Celebrity Cruises is. We've noticed from their ad campaigns and just their events on the ship that they are inclusive of all people. It doesn't matter your sexuality, your race, if you are differently abled. Celebrity does an incredible job of including everyone and making sure everyone feels comfortable and safe. And this entire situation just reminded us of that Celebrity Cruises is a safe space for people like us, and we couldn't be more thankful. It's just one other reason that we cruise Celebrity and we love this cruise line.
Yeah, we have to make it a note that we've cruised Celebrity now over 15 cruises, and not once have we ever felt any hate towards us for being an interracial same-sex couple. We've never once had to deal with anything like this. That's what was so shocking to us, that this even happened. But we also know that it can happen anywhere. There is hate everywhere in the world. It doesn't matter how inclusive of a community you build, there will always be the potential for someone to go out of left field. And so we are so thankful that we still felt taken care of by the cruise line with the actions taken seriously.
I think of that show, What Would You Do?, hosted by John Quiones. There was no time for anyone to react or have a reaction because the cruise line stepped in and did the right thing instantly, which was incredible. It made us feel incredibly safe with that happening in the room, and I think that it made the victims of this hate speech feel safe as well. So kudos to Celebrity for being that safe cruise line and safe space for people like us.
There are going to be consequences for this party if they're found to be guilty of the actions that were allegedly placed on them, and we're going overseas. So who knows if there are charges pressed, what will happen to this party, and you don't want to be on the bad side of the law here in another country.
Now we want to hear from you. Have you ever witnessed hate speech or anything like this confrontation on a cruise ship? Maybe you yourself have been a victim to something like this. If you've ever had an experience, please share it with everyone in the comments. We love to get healthy discussions going, and we create safe spaces for our community. So please know, if you share your experience in our comments section, we are there for you.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out, as well as the thumbs up. Until next time,
see ya!